The plagiarism scandal was supposed to destroy me. Fashion blogs called me a fraud. Critics whispered I was a fake. Alexander Volkov, my mysterious Russian investor, had orchestrated the entire takedown to steal my designs. But what he didn't know was that I had found his evidence. And I was about to use it against him. 3 days after the scandal broke, salvation arrived in the form of gold-embossed invitation. Monaco. The annual Côte d'Azur luxury summit. Every fashion mogul, every billionaire collector, every power player in the industry would be there. This wasn't just a party. This was my chance to fight back. But revenge in the luxury world comes with diamonds and daggers. And I was about to learn that everyone has both. The invitation was hand-delivered by a woman in Hermes. No introduction. No explanation. Just a cream-colored card with my name written in actual gold ink. Inside, elegant script announced the exclusive gathering hosted by Victoria Sterling, the British fashion heiress who owned half the luxury boutiques in Europe. The timing felt like destiny. Or a trap. After 3 days of hiding in my atelier, watching my career burn on social media, this felt like a lifeline. Maybe my last one. The dress code was simple. Wear something unforgettable. In the fashion world, that was both invitation and challenge. I had exactly 48 hours to create something that would remind everyone why they fell in love with my work in the first place. I called Gabriella, my head seamstress. She hadn't spoken to me since the scandal broke. Most of my team had distanced themselves. Careers were fragile things, and associating with scandal could destroy them too. Her voice was cautious when she answered. Protective. Kara, how are you holding up? The kindness in her voice almost broke me. I had forgotten what support felt like. I need your help, Gabriella. One more time. I'm going to Monaco. Silence stretched between us. Then, quietly, what do you need? A miracle. Those I can sew. We had 36 hours. Gabriella arrived at my atelier with her sewing kit and a bottle of wine. She looked around at the space that had once hummed with creative energy. Now it felt like a mausoleum. So, she said, pouring wine into coffee cups, what are we making? Armor disguised as a dress. She laughed, the first genuine sound I'd heard in days. Now you're speaking my language. I pulled out my sketches. Black silk crepe. Hand-beaded with crystals arranged like scales. A dress that would catch every light in the room and reflect it back as power. The neckline would be severe. Unforgiving. The silhouette would command attention without begging for it. This, Gabriella said, studying the design, this is war. Good. Because that's exactly what this is. We worked through the night. No music. No conversation. Just the steady rhythm of needles through silk and the occasional clink of wine glasses. Gabriella's fingers moved like they were conducting an orchestra. Every stitch was perfect. Every bead was placed with surgical precision. At dawn, she held up the finished dress. In the morning light, it looked like liquid shadow given form. Dangerous and beautiful in equal measure. Now you look like someone who could own the world, she said. Or burn it down. Sometimes those are the same thing. The flight to Monaco was my first taste of luxury travel. Alexander had arranged everything. First class. Champagne on arrival. A car that cost more than most people's homes. He was still playing his game, still pretending to be my benefactor. But now I knew the rules. During the flight, I researched every guest who would be at the party. Victoria Sterling, our host, had built her empire by acquiring struggling luxury brands and transforming them into global powerhouses. She was known for discovering talent. And for destroying anyone who disappointed her. There would be Russian oligarchs who collected fashion like art. Arab princes who commissioned entire collections for their wives. American tech billionaires who bought luxury brands as trophies. These weren't just wealthy people. These were the puppet masters who controlled the entire industry. And somewhere among them would be whoever had helped Alexander orchestrate my downfall. The helicopter ride from Nice to Monaco gave me my first glimpse of the Mediterranean elite playground. Super yachts dotted the harbor like floating cities. The casino glittered like a jewel box. Money had transformed every surface into something precious. But money, I was learning, was just the entry fee to this world. Power was the real currency. And I was about to find out how much I had left to spend. Victoria Sterling's yacht was not a boat. It was a floating palace. 300 feet of Italian engineering and British taste. The upper deck had been transformed into an outdoor ballroom. Crystal chandeliers hung from rigging. White silk billowed in the Mediterranean breeze. Servers in perfect uniforms moved like dancers between guests who collectively own more wealth than most countries. I stepped aboard wearing my armor. The dress moved like liquid night around me. The beating caught the setting sun and threw it back as fire. Conversations paused as I passed. Whether from recognition or admiration, I couldn't tell. But at least they were looking. Victoria Sterling found me within minutes. She was smaller than I expected, but her presence filled rooms. Silver hair cut in a perfect bob. Jewelry that museums would kill for. Eyes that missed nothing and forgave less. "The infamous Sophia Chin," she said, extending a hand heavy with rings. "You're either very brave or very foolish to show your face here. Maybe both." She laughed, a sound like breaking crystal. "I like honesty. It's so rare at these gatherings. Walk with me. There are people you need to meet. And people you need to avoid." As we moved through the crowd, she provided commentary like a tour guide through hell. "That's Dmitry Kozlov. Made his fortune in Russian steel. Now he collects fashion houses like some men collect stamps. Very interested in acquiring distressed assets." A chill ran down my spine. Was I a distressed asset? "And there's Marcus Chen, no relation to you, I assume. Singaporean tech mogul. Bought 3 luxury brands last year just because his daughter wanted to play fashion designer." The casual cruelty of wealth was breathtaking. These people bought and sold dreams like commodities. "But the one you really need to watch," Victoria continued, nodding toward a group of impeccably dressed women, "is Celeste Dubois." My blood turned to ice. I knew that name. Margot Dubois, the girl who had tormented me in fashion school, had mentioned her Aunt Celeste. French fashion royalty. Old money. Older grudges. "She's been telling interesting stories about you all evening," Victoria said. "Something about stolen designs and questionable origins." The trap was becoming clear. This wasn't just a party. This was a trial. And I was the defendant. Celeste Dubois held court near the yacht's bow, surrounded by fashion's most influential voices. She was everything old French luxury represented. Elegant. Untouchable. Absolutely ruthless. When she saw me approaching, her smile was arctic. "Mademoiselle Chen," she said, making my name sound like an accusation. "How lovely that you could join us. Though I must say, after recent events, many of us are surprised to see you at such a gathering." The group around her shifted slightly. Predators sensing blood. "Recent events tend to clarify things," I replied. "They separate truth from fiction. Friends from enemies." "Indeed they do. And what clarity have you found?" This was the moment. I could retreat, hide, let them devour what remained of my reputation. Or I could fight back. I've learned that some people in this industry are so threatened by new talent that they'll do anything to destroy it, including fabricating scandals and spreading lies. The words hung in the Mediterranean air like a challenge. Several guests nearby turned to listen. Celeste's smile never wavered, but something dangerous flickered in her eyes. How fascinating. And who, in your expert opinion, might be capable of such elaborate deception? Anyone with enough money and small enough character. A few people gasped. "You didn't speak to Celeste Dubois that way. Not if you wanted to survive in this industry." But Victoria Sterling appeared beside me like a guardian angel. "Ladies, surely we can discuss business later. Tonight is for celebration." She guided me away before Celeste could respond. But the battle lines had been drawn. The next few hours were a masterclass in luxury politics. Every conversation was a negotiation. Every compliment contained a hidden blade. I met oil heiresses who spoke 7 languages and fashion moguls who owned entire city blocks. Some were genuinely intrigued by my work. Despite the scandal, despite the whispers, my designs had made an impression. A Saudi princess commissioning evening wear. A Russian collector interested in exclusive pieces. These people didn't care about gossip. They cared about talent. But others treated me like a curiosity. The scandal-plagued designer who dared to show her face in polite society. They circled like sharks, asking pointed questions about my inspiration sources and my unusual rise to prominence. Through it all, I noticed Thomas Beaumont watching from across the deck. He had been at fashion school with me, had warned me about the rumors spreading in Paris. Now he looked troubled. Conflicted. When our eyes met, he nodded toward a quieter section of the yacht. We met near the stern, away from the main party. The music was softer here. The lights dimmer. More intimate and infinitely more dangerous. "You shouldn't have come," he said without preamble. "Why?" "Because I'm not welcome in polite society anymore." "Because this isn't a party, Sophia. This is an execution. And you just put your head on the block." My blood chilled. "What do you mean?" He looked around nervously, then leaned closer. "Celeste didn't just spread rumors about you. She orchestrated them. She's been planning your destruction since you first showed promise in school." "Why?" "Because you represent everything she fears. New money. New talent. A new generation that doesn't need her approval to succeed." The pieces were starting to fit together. But there were still gaps in the puzzle. "And Alexander?" "My investor." Thomas's expression darkened. "Alexander Volkov is Celeste's business partner. Has been for years. They buy struggling designers' work for pennies, then resell it to major fashion houses for millions." The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. Alexander hadn't just set me up to fail. He had been working with my enemies from the beginning. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because despite everything, I still believe in your talent. And because what they're planning next is worse than plagiarism accusations." As the evening wore on, the party grew more decadent. The champagne flowed like water. The conversations grew louder and less guarded. Guests retreated to quieter corners for more private discussions. That's when I made my move. I had learned to navigate these spaces like a ghost. Small, overlooked, invisible when I needed to be. While everyone focused on the main entertainment, a private concert by a famous opera singer, I explored the yacht's more intimate spaces. The library was empty except for leather-bound books and the soft glow of reading lamps. Perfect for eavesdropping. I positioned myself behind a bookshelf near the door and waited. Within minutes, voices approached. Celeste Dubois and two other women I recognized from fashion magazines. Their conversation was already in progress. "The plagiarism scandal was just the beginning," Celeste was saying. "Now we move to phase 2. "Are you certain she'll go through with another show?" asked one of the others. "Of course she will. Pride will demand it. And when she does, we'll be ready." My heart hammered in my chest. They were talking about sabotage. Real sabotage. "The models are already arranged," Celeste continued. 3 of them will call in sick the morning of the show. The others have been instructed to stumble at strategic moments. "And the technical issues?" the third voice asked. "Sound system failure. Lighting problems. Missing accessories. By the time we're finished, her show will be a complete disaster. No one will ever take her seriously again." They were going to destroy my next collection before it even reached the runway. Everything I had worked for, everything I had built, would be reduced to professional humiliation. What about Volkov? Is he still cooperating? Alexander will play his part perfectly. He's quite good at pretending to support someone while undermining them completely. The women laughed like they were discussing the weather instead of destroying someone's life and career. "She has no idea what's coming," Celeste said with satisfaction. "By this time next month, Sophia Chen will be nothing but a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition." As their footsteps faded away, I remained hidden behind the bookshelf, my mind racing. They had revealed their entire plan. Model sabotage. Technical failures. Complete professional humiliation. But knowledge was power. And now I had both. I pulled out my phone and quickly typed everything I had overheard into my notes. Names, dates, specific plans. Evidence. Then I did something that felt both terrifying and liberating. I started recording. Making my way back to the main party, I mingled with renewed purpose. Every conversation was now strategic. Every smile was calculated. If they wanted to play games, I would show them how it was done. I found Victoria Sterling near the champagne fountain, holding court with several influential buyers. "Victoria," I said, approaching with careful confidence, "I wanted to thank you for the invitation. This has been illuminating." "Has it indeed? And what illuminations have you gained?" "That some people in this industry mistake cruelty for cleverness. But true power comes from creating something beautiful, not destroying someone else's work." She studied me with sharp eyes. Wise words. I hope you have the strength to live by them. I'm about to find out. As the evening wound down, guests began departing for their various accommodations. Some had suites at the Hotel de Paris. Others had their own yachts anchored nearby. I was staying at a boutique hotel in Monte Carlo, courtesy of Alexander's continuing charade of support. But before leaving, I had one final move to make. I found Alexander near the yacht's bar, nursing a glass of vodka and surveying the departing guests like a general reviewing his troops. When he saw me approaching, his expression shifted to concerned mentor mode. "Sophia, my dear, you handled yourself well tonight. Despite the circumstances. The circumstances you created." For just a moment, his mask slipped. Something cold and calculating flickered in his eyes. Then the concerned mentor returned. "I'm not sure what you mean. I know about Celeste. I know about the partnership. I know about the plan to sabotage my next show." This time, the mask didn't slip. It shattered completely. The Alexander who stood before me now was the real one. Cold. Ruthless. Completely unrepentant. Knowledge without power is just information, little designer. And you have no power here. Don't I? I pulled out my phone and played a snippet of the recording. Celeste's voice filled the space between us, describing their sabotage plans in detail. Alexander's expression didn't change, but his knuckles whitened around his glass. Interesting. But ultimately meaningless. Who would you tell? Who would believe you? You're already damaged goods in this industry. Maybe. But damage can be repaired. Reputations can be rebuilt. Revenge, on the other hand, is forever. I turned to leave, then paused. "Oh, and Alexander? Thank you for the lesson. You taught me that in this business, you can't trust anyone. Not even the people who claim to love your work." As I walked away, I heard him call after me. "This isn't over, Sophia. You have no idea what you're up against." He was wrong about one thing. I knew exactly what I was up against. An entire industry built on secrets, lies, and the destruction of dreams. But what he didn't know was that I had just declared war. And I always played to win. Back in my hotel suite, I spent the night planning my counterattack. The recording was just the beginning. I had names, dates, specific sabotage plans. But more importantly, I had something they didn't expect, the willingness to burn everything down if necessary. As dawn broke over Monaco, painting the Mediterranean gold and pink, I made my decision. I wouldn't just defend myself against their sabotage. I would expose the entire conspiracy. The plagiarism scandal, the orchestrated downfall, the planned destruction of my next collection. But first, I needed allies. Real allies. People with power who weren't already corrupted by the system. I thought about Victoria Sterling's parting words. True power comes from creating something beautiful, not destroying someone else's work. Maybe she was testing me. Maybe she was offering help. There was only one way to find out. I picked up the phone and dialed her private number. She answered on the first ring as if she'd been expecting my call. "Good morning, Sophia. I trust you slept well." Actually, I didn't sleep at all. I was too busy planning my revenge. She laughed. That sounded like breaking crystal again. Revenge is exhausting, darling. But justice? Justice can be quite energizing. Are you offering to help me? I'm offering you a choice. You can run back to Paris, hide from their sabotage, and let them win. Or you can fight back with everything you have. And if I choose to fight? Then you'll learn what real power looks like. And they'll learn why you never underestimate a designer with nothing left to lose. The line went quiet for a moment. Then Victoria added, almost casually, "By the way, darling, I've been recording conversations at my parties for years. Insurance, you understand. And last night's recordings are quite fascinating." My heart stopped. She had been testing me. And apparently I had passed. What happens now? Now? Now we show them what happens when they mistake kindness for weakness. Prepare yourself, Sophia. The real war is just beginning. As I hung up the phone, a new message appeared on my phone. Unknown number, as always. But this time, the words made my blood run cold. Enjoyed your conversation last night. But you missed the best part. Check your email. You have 48 hours to withdraw from Fashion Week, or the photos go public. And these photos will destroy more than just your career. They'll destroy everyone you care about. Choose wisely. A friend. My hands shook as I opened my email. The photos were there, waiting like digital poison. Photos of my mother, my grandmother, my few remaining friends. All taken recently. All from close range. The message was clear. This wasn't just about business anymore. This was personal. And if I continued fighting, innocent people would pay the price. But as I stared at those threatening images, something strange happened. Instead of fear, I felt fury. Pure, crystalline rage. They thought they could break me by threatening the people I loved. Instead, they had just given me the one thing I needed most. A reason to win at any cost. I looked out at the Monaco harbor, at the super yachts and the glittering casino, at the playground of the ultra-wealthy who thought they could buy and sell human dreams. They were about to learn that some things couldn't be purchased. Like talent. Like determination. Like revenge served at exactly the right temperature. The game had just changed. And I was about to show them how a girl from Queens plays chess with billionaires. Next episode preview. The photos were supposed to destroy me. Instead, they made me dangerous. When they threatened my family, they crossed the only line that mattered. Now the gloves are off. Fashion Week is coming, and I'm about to turn their sabotage against them. But first, I have to survive the scandal they're about to unleash. Because what they photographed wasn't just compromising. It was impossible. And proving my innocence might cost me everything I've built. The war for my empire starts now.